Alrighty, friends. So get comfortable. We are back with the demon duo, and we found ourselves a frisky little fight here today against some purples. Last time you saw us, we were actually running on the paladin and the mage combo, but today we found ourselves on the rapier duo. Myself on rapier and ice, and Astro on rapier and void. We actually ended up finding ourselves some really enjoyable PvP. Go back 45 minutes, a bug where I couldn't zoom my screen out, and about 5 outfit changes later, we ended up starting a really big fight with this purple group who just ended up growing in size the longer we were fighting them. This is our first time running with the rapier duo, so there's definitely some synergy and stuff that needed to be practiced and built up, but definitely over the duration of this fight, we definitely were starting to get the combos going together and starting to become a menace. The combo is pretty interesting because we are both running rapiers, but the Ice Gauntlet and the Void Gauntlet provide some very powerful area denial, CC, and damage for us, which allows for some pretty interesting combos. But after fighting them for a little bit here, we ended up starting, like I said, a pretty big fight, and we find ourselves starting out here in Reekwater, and the fight is going to get pretty crazy starting from here. So we end up getting a really advantageous situation for ourselves here, where purple starts to get split up and they aren't all grouped up inside the fort there. And we're going to immediately try to take advantage of that. I want to go ahead and try to take out as many targets as I can and keep them separated. You see, go ahead and try to take out that mage. And then we both go ahead and converge on the second purple and the green there, and we're able to get a pretty nice finish. But it looks like the remaining purple are in the fort, so we are going to go ahead and make our way into the fort there. As their numbers grew, fighting inside the fort in an open area with no line of sight ended up becoming a problem. But we find ourselves back in here again, and they have some bow players set up on the top there. And we immediately just get into a crazy scrap upon jumping inside. Go ahead and put out a ton of damage out on that first player there, and our duo is able to jump in right after us and finish off the kill for a beautiful little finish off there. Looks like we have a friendly yellow with us as well, who's giving us a little bit of a hand. But as I mentioned earlier, they are a little bit split up at the moment, so we are able to go ahead and find a little finish inside of the fort there. But a little while later, we find ourselves back outside of the fort, and our duo is under a lot of duress. After respawn though, I make my way back to the fight, and we jump in and find a finish on the target who's on our duo. Get a pretty nice kill, but I'm trying to distance myself and space a little bit from this fight because they have started to get quite a few numbers here now. As you can see, a lot of these ranged abilities flying in. But I land the spike on the pressure from our duo. Also follow up with the ranged heavy attack from the Ice Gauntlet and get a really nice kill there. And we're just kind of trying to find our synergy here with the dance and take out targets where we can find them. With a couple of them down though, I go ahead and see if I can find this straggler and get a kill here, but we are jumped on by a second melee here. Start to take a lot of pressure, and it is getting a little bit laggy as our entomb does take a second there to get up. Almost go down. We get just barely saved by the root scream there from our duo. Unfortunately though, we do end up getting our duo killed with that move. We do get saved, but our duo goes down, so I need to make this life worth it, and I'm gonna end up trying pretty hard to stay alive while our duo gets back to us. But we end up landing a beautiful parry in our ice storm while that player is separated, and we at least get a nice finish off on one of the players. But I'm really gonna try to make sure that I play my P's and Q's right here and not make too many mistakes here, and try to buy some time for my duo to get back into this fight. But already in a pretty bad situation, taking a lot of damage, and I'm kind of forced to use my entomb already in this fight, which I didn't want to do. And out of stam, we are in a pretty dire situation with our stamina out there, but our duo has made it back into the fight. With two of them really, really low, they are kind of forced to retreat from the fight. Just barely get the storm out to prevent that one player there from making it back into the keep. Land a parry, but we aren't able to find the kill. Our duo does find the kill there though, and then we continue on this crazy fight out here in Reekwater. With the combo of our back weapons being Ice and Void, we have really, really powerful control when it comes to those melee range fights. But for those bow and mage players who'd like to play far at distance, it ends up being quite a problem. But we end up closing the distance on one of them here, end up getting him very, very low, win the trade, and end up finishing off the kill there. And it looks like our duos also got a kill for themselves as well. But I'm going to go ahead and try to get a little bit of assistance and get some pressure off of them if I can. We finish off the kill there for our duo, and we go ahead and find some distance as we see that detonate start to get built up there. We both avoided though, and I am trying to see if I can find the kill on that one rifle player, or the musket, excuse me, but we are unable to find the finish. Just barely are able to finish off the kill on the musket though as our duo will down, and I'm forced again to kind of try to buy time and stay alive while we can get some assistance back here. And as you can notice, it is starting to get a little bit laggy, but so far it doesn't seem to be affecting the fight too much. So again, I'm gonna go ahead and try to just not make a mistake or overextend here, and see if I can find myself some line of sight to just make this fight a little bit better. Because as you can see, I'm starting to get converged on by quite a few players. So my target here is going to end up being the war camp. Do successfully make it inside, and it looks like our duo does see that we are in here. So I'm gonna go ahead and take them for a little ride around the tent, and we do reunite here. It looks like this player has overextended and doesn't realize he is not with his teammates though, and tries to make a retreat. Does find some help though, and it looks like a healer has joined this fight. Up until this point, there hasn't been a healer, which is what has made fighting against this many players one of the things that's possible. But we again have some friendlies help from a yellow player here. A purple ends up going by us very, very low, and we end up finding the finish there on him as a bunch of other players come by following up on him. And then we end up just in a big scrap. Everybody finds each target for themselves. We end up just in 3 different 1v1s. And then we all kind of converge back into the middle here to try to find a kill. The healer is going to be a problem, and we need to either burst down one target together or find a kill. But after that bow player does get low, I'm able to find a finish, which reduces the pressure quite a bit, and we are able to switch our attention and combine our DPS on that last player there and find a beautiful finish on the healer, and then end up getting a at least for now a little win in the Reekwater segment of this fight. We jump outside of the camp though, and it does look like there is a couple of players here still. And like eager kids, we just end up chasing the purple back into another fight, not realizing that it is a trap that the purples have set up for us, as a lot of players have now made their way over to Reekwater. It looks like we're trying to get this one target there, as we do end up getting low. But as you now see, they have sprung the trap on us, and a lot of players are now here, and they converge on us and end up taking us out, and they end up getting the last laugh in the Reekwater segment. But after that, we are going to find ourselves over in Everfall. After both sides kind of take a breather after that first fight, we find ourselves for a round 2. While not as many players as before, definitely a much more tight-knit group, as we're going to find just as much trouble with these players we end up fighting here. Anytime a blunderbuss is in the mix, it's always a bad time, and I'm already forced to use my entomb and kind of put myself onto the retreat, as I'm already taking quite a bit of pressure from these players. But it does look like our duo is here, as I'm trying to kind of retreat, as we have put a little bit of damage back onto this player, as we find a really, really nice parry onto that one player. I look for the execute with the spike, but he does a really good job of dodging it there. And I try to go ahead and switch my attention over to this blunderbuss player because just leaving them there to blast you is never ever a good idea. So we start to switch our pressure over to this player here, get them very low, and we force out the burnout. Pretty low, also out of stam. We looks like we are able to find the kill as I keep up the pressure there, and we switch our attention back over to this hatchet player. And with the two of us on this one player, it does seemingly look like we are going to be able to finish them off. But pretty soon here, he is going to get some reinforcements, as you can see, jumping in from the gate there. Another sword and shield player. Those pesky melee strength players, always a hard time to get away from, especially this patch. But into a 2v2 now, and we do a good job of putting in some damage, at least starting out this fight, but we aren't at least able to finish off the kill as he gets very low. Both of us looking for that finish, as I'm finally able to find it there, but both of our partners do end up going down here as I'm trying to find the finish and the win for us here in this fight, as I kind of just finished off the partner. But I am left to a little 1v1. But unfortunately, it does look like we are slowly getting a steady amount of reinforcements here, and also a little bit of lag to accompany this fight, as you can see by the chat there. But again, on the back foot, we are trying to see what we can do to stay alive and also put in some damage, but we end up going down as we take the combo from those two players there. But we are going to go ahead and make our way back over to the fort. Off of our respawn though, and with a camp set up, we make our way back into the fort. And it looks like there is still, again, only really 3 players here. And we're going to see who can end up taking the win for the Everfall scrap here. But immediately all 3 jump onto us and we take a lot of damage. They throw out the ultimate and I am already under a lot of pressure and forced to use the entomb. But they also have a player who's also on the back foot as well, as we are able to find the finish there. And I'm trying to see what I can do to find some pressure to get relieved there from my duo, but they also go down as well. And we are left to a 2v1. We land the spike in the storm there, follow up with the heavy attack, and we are able to find that finish there. Left to a 1v1. Let's see if we can go ahead and find the win and avenge our duel and our death from earlier. Find the parry, get a beautiful heavy attack, and get some decent damage in. And with a nice little 1-2-3 with the evade combo there, we end up getting the last laugh this time. And with that out of the way, we find ourselves in Cutlass keys. This time around, the fight breaks out on the road, which again favors us. Any type of open world scenario with line of sight is going to be a scenario that we look for. But with all of us kind of flagging up at the same time here, we open up the fight. We find the parry on the shield bash there and are able to put the pressure out onto the sword and shield player pretty much immediately on this fight. And it looks like the friendly player has started to realize that we have begun to ambush this partner here. But our duo is able to follow up and get a really nice finish. And it looks like the brawl ends up starting here over in the forest. An ultimate pop here, an ultimate pop there, and the tide of the fight kind of ends up going back and forth. But with that nasty root from the hatchet, we end up getting caught in a really bad combo from the enemy players. We end up getting away for a second, but with that decision to try to cast Ice Storm, we end up going down. But we quickly go ahead and respawn and make our way back over to the fight and try to see if we can find a different little outcome here. But immediately find ourselves against the musket player and a greatsword player. I'm gonna go ahead and see if I can put some pressure onto that musket player, but we immediately get stuck onto with the pressure from the greatsword. So I go ahead and after that entomb, switch my attention to the greatsword player. But our duo shows up and just puts in an insane amount of damage into that musket. Almost straight up one-shots them off of that combo. and we end up following up for the finish there. And with the second player really low, we also are able to find the finish on them as well, or so it seemed, as he is able to get away with a little bit of health. But with this player just kind of pecking me with arrows from a distance here, I have to switch my attention over to him, and our duo realizes it as well, as we both make our way over, almost get him down. But in the middle of that combo, it does look like we are able to get that earlier melee player low again, and we are able to find the kill. With the musket player back into the fight, it is a pretty much either or decision here which player we decide to finish off, because leaving either a musket or a bow up in a fight is just a recipe for disaster, because it's just extra DPS that you will end up finding on yourselves and end up ruining the fight. But as we end up chasing here, it does end up looking like this bow player is going to make their way back over to the shrine. And with that, it does kind of look like the fight has found its way to a close here. A really enjoyable time. GG's to all of the purples in the fight. They all ended up actually being super cool in chat as well. None of them are toxic, which is something that you always want to see. But yeah, I feel like with the potential that we all always talk about for open world in this game, there is just so much potential for stuff like this. And this is a type of editing style that I've been wanting to try to do for quite a bit, but just haven't been able to get any form of consistent open world PvP. But I've been really wanting to do this kind of short movie style of editing when it comes to some open world PvP. So please, if you've made it this far into the video, please let me know what you thought of the video. We had a really good time PvPing, had a good time editing it. So please let me know what you guys and gals thought of the video. But I will have a update for my Rapier and Ice Gauntlet build soon. I pretty much have it all settled up and wrapped up for season 1. So I will get a update video out for you guys then. But as always, thank you so much for watching, and have a great day.